Hello and welcome to the BeeRPad. This is an interesting episode, Marcus. We got our first comment before we went live. Is that like a pre-comment?
Well, we've arrived. That's it. I mean, I expect TikTok superstar Adam to come hammering at our door now. Who commented?
Premature commensulation. I don't know. Martin did. I'll throw his comment up there for being the first pre-commenter we've ever had. He's talking about the games we're looking forward to: Dragon's Dogma, New Indiana Jones, Bulwark, and Highwater. Yeah, those are fine picks, Martin. So
thanks. They are indeed.
We're going to talk about video games today.
Because that's what we do.
That is what we do. We spend most of our adult lives playing and talking.
That's what we did.
That's what we did.
Yes. We invented this industry and you can all kiss our hairy old asses.
So, Marcus, how you doing this week? What's going on?
It's another week. What can I say? Yeah.
And guys, let us know how you are out there.
Yes. It's just, I'm drinking water, fizzy water, because I'm fancy. Although it is a soda stream because I'm too tight to pay for bottled water.
I'm a big fan of the soda stream, even just making seltzer like you're drinking.
Yeah, that's what we do. And it's funny, the flavorings of the soda stream in the US are so full of crap. We went to the UK and we looked at the same ones there. So much better. Even shit like Diet Coke. Kicking ourselves we didn't buy any, but next time maybe.
They actually used to use stevia in soda stream, but like 3 or 4 years ago they went with the chemicals instead.
Because it's cheaper, and chemicals make people stupid, and that's what happens in America, because America is a place where corporate entities win. Capitalism is rampant and unchecked. Yeah. And anybody who isn't in the top 10% gets fucked. Yes. With a cactus and no lube. I mean, this country's crooked. The government's crooked. They won't do anything. Politicians, they're just horrible, horrible human beings. They qualify as human beings. All of them. Republicans are evil bastards. The Democrats won't do anything. Joe Biden's a fucking skeletal walking. He could have just walked away. Donald Trump is an evil fuckknuckle, and anybody who supports him should go and impale themselves on something sharp, preferably after setting fire to everything they own, because I don't give a fuck. I can't stand these people. They all need to die. That's it. Happy Tuesday, motherfuckers. Can we talk about video games now?
We will talk about video games. Marcus and I are going to go over 3 games each that we're looking forward to the most in 2024. Wow, it feels weird to say that. 2024.
Yeah.
So why don't I kick things off? And
please do, Raymond. What's your? I'm guessing we're going in reverse order. So, what is your 3 pick? First of all, how difficult was it for you to pick 3 games?
There was a lot that I didn't know was coming out, and I didn't realize this because I haven't been following release dates as closely as I used to. But a lot of publishers don't announce dates too far in advance now. I didn't realize that was a trend. I mean, back when we were doing this full time, publishers would advance way in advance, sometimes to their detriment. For print media,
and to make sure that the likes of Best Buy, GameStop, etc., had the windows so that the physical copies could be delivered to them.
Right, retail was far more important back then, and digital downloads kind of put an end to that. So it was more difficult than I thought. How about for you?
It was more difficult than I thought, because I looked at all the games coming out this year and realized most of them look like boring shit. Literally, I had to scrabble to find 3 that didn't make me want to gnaw my thumbs off, so I can never use a joypad again. It's all regurgitations across the board. There's nothing really super exciting and sexy. I mean, you go back 10 years or 12 years, 2012 to 13, 14. Those were some stellar years. We had such good games coming out. but now the amount of confidence that I have in a lot of games companies has gone through the floor. I mean, we just found out that the new Deus Ex got cancelled because Embracer Group, which basically, I saw a little meme where somebody said that company is now should be called Embrace the Death because they have killed off so many IPs and so many studios. And this is what happens when people who have a credit rating and no business working in video games start shopping like it's 20% off in Walmart, and
Right.
daddy let you have the Visa. So Embracer Group is everything that's wrong with the video game industry right now, and that's why we've lost people from IDOS. We've lost Volition. We've lost the Tomb Raider franchise. They bollocksed Saints Row. I think that's terrifying is they have the Lord of the Rings license. I mean, and there are a lot of people who work for good companies that are owned by Embracer, but Embracer themselves are the equivalent of Todd Bowley and his cretins at Chelsea. I mean, they literally are this parent company that is run by a bunch of data-driven finance jockeys with no soul whatsoever. So, yeah, I mean, I'll never end up working with Embracer Group, obviously, but I really don't care. I mean, and it's just they are a prime example of the evil that's befalling the games industry, and that's why in 3 years' time, all we'll be looking at is Call of Duty, Fortnite, and fucking Elden Ring clones. Because creativity is being stifled. All we can hope for is the indies will come and save the day. And because the indies don't get much space with the media, we don't really know what's coming until it absolutely, until it hits. So God bless the indies. I'm hoping we're going to get a surge of creativity from these folks who've been doing some amazing stuff over the years, because they are the only semblance of hope the games industry has. Eat the rich.
I mean, that's not exclusive to the games industry either. It's just all kinds of content. Too much consolidation.
Movies, TV.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is just getting. We're consuming stupider and stupider stuff.
Yes.
Whether it's the chemicals in the milk in our coffee. You go to McDonald's and order the fries. The fries should just be potato, oil, and a bit of salt. But if you look at the things, it's potato, oil, and about 15 different chemicals.
Yep.
Because shit is legal in this country. And this is why we're getting stupider and stupider. So, yeah, everybody's like, oh, I got my iPod. I play off Fortnite. And it's because these people are just so fucking stupid. So get off Fortnite, go find a good indie experience, enjoy that, watch an indie movie, step away from superhero franchises, which I know is sounds like heresy because we cover a lot of superhero stuff. But let's face it, Echo was shit. We've not had anything decent. I mean, I watched Fish Dicks 2, The Lost Kingdom of Fish Dicks, which is aqua crap. And without a doubt, that is the worst superhero movie I have seen, and I am including Roger Corman's Fantastic Four on that list.
Wow.
Jason Momoa seems like a very nice dude, but he's a one-trick pony. The script is horrible. All the set pieces are rip-offs of everything else. The VFX look atrocious. All I can hope is that James Gunn can really kick some sense into DCU or DC Cinematic Universe, whatever the fuck it's called nowadays, with its with the stuff that's coming. And Marvel has a reboot too, because right now, I mean, Madam Web comes out next week. That looks like a turd sandwich with a side order of turd.
But that, to be clear, that's Sony's thing.
That's Sony Spider-Verse, Madam Web, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, it's still a Marvel property. It's still Sony doing their, oh, look at this, aren't we doing stupid shit? I still haven't forgiven them for making Venom PG.
I mean, from the people that brought you Morbius. Come on.
Exactly, as in morbidly stupid. So, yes, I did find it difficult because it reminds me of that episode of South Park where poor Stan Marsh starts realizing everything's just shit. And he's just depressed. I mean, but it is true. There's so much shit out there, and we have to shovel the shit out the way to get to the good nuggets. And the good nuggets are indie movies, indie games, music, the same thing. I mean, this is not me just being a grumpy old man. there is we are collectively getting stupider as a species, and we're losing all compassion, and we're losing creativity, and we laugh at people who are smart and who are creative, and revel and celebrate idiots who throw a fucking football or hit a baseball or kick a soccer ball.
Right.
And all the money that they make when teachers, nurses, healthcare providers in general make shit money. Sorry, you caught me. You caught me on a very militant day today, Raimundo. So, you know what? I'm sorry I went off on my diatribe, but everybody loves a good diatribe.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the third choice, your number 3 game. Is it something Japanese?
It is. How did you guess? You will be shocked to hear that all 3 of my picks come from Japan. The first one is a remake. You talked about lacking creativity, but this one I'll give a pass because the original came out in 2001, and it's something that we discussed in our Halloween episode last year. It is Silent Hill 2 Remake. So this game has one of my favorite stories ever in a video game. The ending really shocked me and left me feeling with a sense of, wow, that was fucked up, which I didn't really feel in video games at that time. So I'm hoping for that experience. Story will be intact. The graphics are going to be updated massively. It's using Unreal Engine 5, so I expect a big leap in visuals. I'm excited to see what they do there. The combat system, if you play the 2001 game, then you know it will not hold up in 2024. So the developers are modernizing it, hopefully for the better, and they don't get too cute or try to be too clever with it. The game is slated for a release at the end of the year on Windows PC and PlayStation 5. Consoles have a timed exclusive, so it'll be PlayStation 5 this year, and it will hit the other consoles next year. Akira Yamaoka, who did the music for the original game and has done music for a lot of Konami games and has directed some, he's contributed to this project. And I've met him a few times. He's a really cool and very talented chap. And I'm excited to see his name out there again. Wonderful musician and a wonderful person. So this game, I'm curious to see how they handle the combat, because the way it played in the original, gamers would be bored with it or find it clunky. So there's a big opportunity there to make it exciting. People seem to like the Resident Evil remakes. So if they could do something along those lines to make it feel similar but updated for today's controllers and for today's gamers, that would be fantastic. So Silent Hill 2 Remake. I know it's not cool or hip to pick remakes and remasters.
There's nothing wrong with that, especially when it's an excellent game. We've had the discussion that remakes, everybody's like, oh, remakes and reboots, blah, blah, blah. We're talking about a remake. We're talking about a remake of a classic game. We're talking about an updated version. And if said classic game is way better than 90% of the dirge that's being released today, a remake or a reboot or a, remaster is not a bad thing, because you look at some of the games that have been remastered and have done very, very well. I mean, there were a couple of remasters that I could have put on my list, like Dark Forces, which is being redone. The original KOTOR that's being redone. By Embracer Groups, a good fucking luck when that's going to happen. But I mean, these are seminal titles, and there is so much, especially when we're looking at, we've got this stifling lack of creativity that's coming out from a lot of the big publishers. It's great to be able to say Silent Hill 2 will be introduced to a new generation, and Silent Hill 2 is a game that's going to scare the shit out of a lot of people, and I hope it does well, and I hope it's a really good one. I mean, I would love to see, as we've discussed before, Dungeon Keeper. I would like to see the one of the Fable games perhaps remastered. I mean, there's so many games from down the years that really could be remastered and just really to really sort of like give a lot of current games a run for their money.
Right.
I'm
It's
surprised.
interesting that you mentioned Silent Hill 2 being exposed to a new generation of gamers, because I'm excited to play the game, of course, but I'm excited to see what younger gamers think of it. Will they be as affected as we are when it originally came out? What will they think of the story? I'm curious to see how it goes over with
Might be too slow for them. It might not be,
it might be. Yeah.
but I mean, I think a lot of people, I mean, there's a lot of games that I would love to see, like I said, remastered and updated graphics wise, and a couple of tweaks, maybe improvements to the gameplay,
Yeah.
streamline it, evolve the gameplay, because you're dealing with much heavier stuff, better hardware now.
Yeah.
Infamous 1 and 2, absolutely would love to see those two remastered by Sucker Punch. But I don't think it's going to happen. So I am totally fine, my friend, with you.
Excellent. I have a question for you, Marcus.
What?
Are you feeling French?
No, thankfully. Do I look like I've got a baguette up my bum? No, I'm not feeling French, but I do realize that two of my games both come from the same Zutalor publisher. But my third choice, if you will, is one that's been announced for a while and looks like it's finally seeing the light of day. And it's from a company I do criticize a lot because they fucking deserve it. But it is Skull and Bones, ye oldie piratey type game. And the reason I'm looking forward to this, and it's from Ubisoft. The reason I'm looking forward to this, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag was such a fun game. It was a really, really fun version of Assassin's Creed, one that could actually do with a remaster, because I guarantee you it's actually a lot more fun than some of the trash they've put out recently. And so they talked about, there was so much fun with regards to, piloting your ship and the ship combat and stuff, that Ubisoft said, oh, look at that. We won't have to make another game. We'll just lift this out and we'll turn it into a full game and we'll pad it out and everybody be happy. And that was in fucking 1806 or something, in the day, around the time the last pirates were hung from the yardarm. But apparently it's coming out this year. And who doesn't like to buckle their swashes and hoist the mainsail and get rickets and scurvy? And I mean, this is I haven't seen much of it. I've purposely stayed away from a lot of these games with regards to what's coming out. But the idea of an open world pirate game where there is combat, and I know Microsoft has one on Xbox. I tried playing it. It's cartoony. It's a little bit. It's just not my cup of tea. Excuse me. So yeah, I just like the fact that this is, hopefully it takes what you could do in Assassin's Creed Black Flag and elevates it. And there are things to do. You can upgrade your ships. You can hire crews. You can launder money. You can buy businesses. I mean, all this stuff and this is more in hope, because again, I've purposely stayed away from a lot of the information. It's due out quite soon, which is okay. I've not seen much of it recently anywhere, to be honest with you. So this is just one that I would love to have played a decade ago when Black Flag was released. And yeah, it's a long shot. It's a hit and hope. It's a Hail Mary that this will actually be any good. If it is, I'll be happy, because I'll be yarring and avast ye mateys and ye landlubbers, and I'll be drinking me grog in a corner. It's due to come out across the board, I think, PlayStation, Xbox, PC.
Right.
I mean, I think there's going to be multiplayer in there as well, but obviously I don't like playing with other people. So I will be staying the fuck away from that. But I hope, there's good solid quests. I mean, give us a good pirate RPG. I mean, let's face it, the only other decent pirate RPG you've got out there is the fucking Secret of Monkey Island.
Yeah, there aren't a lot of pirate or water-based games out there. I mean, I I remember playing Taipan on my neighbor's Apple II as a kid and liking that.
God,
Uh,
yeah.
Wind Waker is one of my favorite games, but in general, there's not a lot of water-based games. It seems difficult to do, especially with these kinds of graphics. So I'm curious about this one. I hope it does well. I hope it ends up being a good game, just because the setting is so unique. And of course,
Yeah,
I
I'm
love
hoping for sort of
pirates.
like Mass Effect piratey
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or Dragon Age piratey. I mean, so even Fallout piratey. I mean, there are these existing RPG staples, action RPGs, if you will.
Hmm.
And just to see those moved into this environment, there's definitely a gap. What I don't want is Assassin's Creed Valhalla piratey
Uh,
or Far Cry piratey. I'd like to see a bit of originality in there. I'd like to see, a bunch of strong quests. I don't want to wander around feeling like somebody from Ubisoft is watching my every move and figuring out how to microtransact me into Davy Jones's locker. So yeah, that's my number three choice. More in hope than confidence, but that's just the way of the world. Give me your number two, she said.
it also came from Japan. Shock and awe.
You got look. I'm gonna have to sort of like strap myself in here because if you tell me one more game comes from Japan, I'm gonna fall off my seat in shock.
Uh-oh.
It's my stunned face.
So this one is a smaller title than the other games I mentioned, but still highly anticipated by RPG nerds like me. It is Eiyuden Chronicles, being published by 505 Games. It is being directed by Mr. Murayama, who created the Suikoden series. He directed Suikoden 1 and 2 for Konami back in the day. So this game has similar concepts from what he brought along, but it's kind of an interesting mix of old and new. As you can see from the screen, the characters are pixel art, but they're in pretty lush 3D environments. So it's modernized, but it still has an old school like PS2 RPG feel. Hopefully they can pack a lot of things in to make it feel more modern. There's a few interesting things going on with Eiyuden Chronicle. There are three main characters from what I understand, but you can recruit more than 100 allies. So you can mix and match their different abilities and different styles. You have straight up sword and sorcery characters. There's this cool kangaroo with a broadsword, which I saw that. I'm like, I gotta play as that guy.
You can't go wrong with
Yeah.
a kangaroo with a broadsword. Is his name Joey?
No, it is not. It begins with a G or something. There's a Mexican luchador wrestler in there. So you can recruit all these guys. And for the most part, it plays like a straight action RPG. Combat looks classic RPG, but there's this thing called war mode where you pull out and you have an overhead grid map and you assign your companions to lead different squadrons of your army into these big massive battles where there are hundreds of warriors out on the battlefield there. So the gameplay looked interesting and almost looked like a tactical RPG, but when the action happens, there's so much going on screen. So it kind of reminded me of those big Lord of the Rings battles where there are literally hundreds of guys on screen trying to kill each other. And that's what I'm hoping for in war mode. There's a PlayStation event tomorrow, actually, and I believe Eiyuden Chronicle will be a part of that, as will Skull and Bones. So hopefully we'll get more details there.
What time is it?
It's usually 10:30 at 10 around. Yeah, it's sometime our morning, 10 a.m.
As long as it doesn't coincide with Liverpool.
Oh, there's football tomorrow.
Chelsea, yes.
Yeah.
The league leaders, Liverpool.
Yes.
Face Todd Bowley's bitches.
I think we have Bournemouth or something.
Come on, Bournemouth.
Ha.
No offense. Sorry, mate.
No.
I gotta say, that screenshot you put up,
Yeah,
beautiful. I
Yeah.
mean, it looks like it does. It feels like, and this is going to be sound totally contrary. It feels like almost like an old Super NES game.
Yes.
But way more beautiful. Super NES, but in the current, I know it's kind of confusing to say, but it just has that vibe. And it does look very pretty. And I'm guessing that is the kangaroo with the broadsword.
That is said kangaroo. Where is he hiding the broadsword? Haha.
Oh,
But yeah, this is something that RPG fans are highly anticipating, and I hope it does well. And I hope I know I'm 99% sure I will enjoy the hell out of it, which is all I can ask for a game.
okay. That's all you need out of life. Okay, so it's my number two.
Yes.
My number two, I'm going to a galaxy far, 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 far away.
Uh
It's a French galaxy where they don't fight with lightsabers, they fight with light baguettes. And the farce is visual. All right, Star Wars Outlaws.
Yes.
So there are obviously a couple of Star Wars games being announced. One of which that's being done by what's his name, who did Almost Human or Being Human, and the one I'm talking about.
David Cage.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't view those as games at all, actually. But that's my personal preference. But this one, first of all, it's not a fucking Skywalker in sight. So, I'm into this. It is set between apparently Empire and Jedi.
Okay.
And as the title says, you are an outlaw.
Yes.
Yeah, look at that. You're an outlaw with a little thing. So this is the thing. I can't figure out if the lady with the gun's the main character,
Right.
or the alien on her shoulder's the main character and she's growing out of its butt. So it's one of the two. But this is, again, one that's not far off release. It's apparently going to release this year, but it's all about a heist. It's an intergalactic heist. You play a scoundrel.
Uh-huh.
Everybody loves a good scoundrel. And let's face it, being bad is good in video games. It's entertaining. Being bad outside of video games in real life, not good. But again, this one to me, obviously, it's a franchise that you and I, it's very close to our heart, and there's not much by way of really good new content that's come out. I mean, Jedi Outcast and Jedi Survivor, I really didn't rate because I'm not a big fan of Metroidvania kind of games, and I think that I still disagree with a lot of the reviews, and I've unfortunately feel that a lot of the media was bought on that one because they got to go to Galaxy's Edge for the preview event, and so they were like, "Oh, we got all this swag. It's a 70% game, but we'll give it 90s." But this one holds out hope because, again, it's an RPG. It's story, it's action, maybe some RPG in there as well. But it's just something different. We're not playing with Jedis. We're not playing with Skywalker's family or Han Solo or anything like that. It's a new cast of characters. It's supposed to be pretty vast, which is always good. Give me value for money. I want to be able to. I want to be able to pilot ships. I want to be able to blow shit up. I want to shoot stormtroopers. I'm good, who doesn't want to shoot stormtroopers? But I also, I want to steal shit. I mean, it almost feels like Rogue One, which was another heist, a Star Wars heist movie. And if it's half as good as Rogue One was, and a lot of people go, "Oh, Rogue One's not that good." You know what? Rogue One is one of the best Star Wars movies out there.
Absolutely.
Certainly better than anything in the prequels or anything that came after Jedi. In fact, I would say that outside of A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, Rogue One is right there. And to be able to play something like that where, there's a heist, there's money, there's dirty dealings, dark dealings, double crossings, and wretched hives of scum and villainy. Call me crazy, but that sounds like home. That sounds like fun. That sounds like something I was born to play. Now, obviously, as with the last game, it's from Ubisoft, so they could fuck it up because they have a track record. But I'm hoping that they're not. I hope that they are going to, produce something polished and enjoyable and, again, free of multiplayer shenanigans, and loot boxes. I mean, I would just like to be able to play a game and just enjoy it for what it is. No subscriptions, no season passes.
Hey,
Yeah, all that sort of stuff. So Skull and Bones, I'm just looking at the Chiron there. Skull and Bones Star Wars Outlaws.
whoop.
Yep, there you go. So this is the expansion pack to Skull and Bones, where you're a pirate but in space.
It did not erase my correction. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
don't
fix
worry
that
about it.
now.
It's all comedy.
No.
So yeah, that's my second one. And I know that I've spoken about, how bad Ubisoft is, but these games are genuinely exciting me. These are ones that, if they come out and the reviews are above 80, it'll be, here's my money. And excuse me, somebody's at the front door.
Wow.
So there you go. As you can all tell, my ring has just gone off, and the wife has gone to meet it. Going to take care of it.
You do that. I fixed the Chiron, and I will talk about Outlaws a little bit.
No, I'm not leaving. That's
okay.
the wife's for. She's got.
Oh no, my bad.
Anyway, so let's talk. I mean, what do you think about this one? You love a good Star Wars.
I absolutely love a good Star Wars. I mean, you know how much of a Star Wars nerd I am. But I haven't been tracking this game, maybe because of the publisher, maybe not.
No, like beaten puppies, aren't we? We're just going to cower in the corner.
Well, they did have an executive that I thought was going to throw me off the roof once. That's a story for next time. I haven't been tracking this game.
I worked for them. I launched Ghost Recon there. I was working on Splinter Cell. I left there to go to a much smaller publisher.
Right.
Because I was tired of banging my head against a French glass ceiling. And,
Le Glace.
Well, I think Le Glace is an ice, isn't it?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Ubisoft. I mean, I spent a year there, and the stories I could tell. I mean, I was in New York when 9/11 happened. So I was on a Ubisoft press trip. And so yeah, they've had some good moments since then. They seem to get. I mean, and this is 20. It's over 20 years ago I worked for them. But again, much like a lot of other companies, like Embracer Group, where we say, wow, we've got all these studios. We must do this, and everything's working at the same time. And then, we've done this game, and it's not really that good because we're overstretching ourselves, and we're not focusing it because 14 different studios are working. So we're just going to lay all of you off. There's a reason people leave Ubisoft.
Yes.
Not many reasons for people to go back to Ubisoft. But again, I'm hoping against hope because this was the toss-up one between this and the two remasters of Dark Forces and KOTOR, because I need a good Star Wars game in my life.
Everyone should. Everyone does.
I think we deserve one.
Yeah. Question for you. I don't know if because I haven't been tracking the game. So, do you know how much leeway you have in terms of the morality of your character?
Nope.
Can you? Because
no clue. No clue.
Interested.
I'm hoping, Mass Effect Star Wars is something I've always wanted.
Right.
And the only time we've gotten that.
Oh, wow. I have the Apple things on. Check this out. Whoop, magic. Make the heart. There it is.
Okay. So where's that one?
Well, you don't have it. You're not using it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's why KOTOR and KOTOR 2 was so great. And even the Old Republic, the huge MMO. That's why, again, when it comes to mourning BioWare, I mean, they did this stuff and they had the morality down because you could actually, if you want to play the hardest version of the Old Republic, you would play an evil Jedi who's not Sith. You'd say, I'm going to be a Jedi, but I'm going to be a wanker, or I'm going to be a Sith, and I'm going to spare everybody and make everything, every decision I can to get my good side up and just confuse the fuck out of the game and everybody else's reactions to you. And that would be great. I mean, the morality is always good. I mean, are you going to be a scoundrel with a heart of gold? You're going to be Han Solo.
Right.
Or you're going to be an absolute vicious rat bastard.
Right. Like those guys, 99% of the people in the Mos Eisley Cantina.
Yes. Or just the human race.
So yeah, that's the part of the game that I'm most interested in. Seeing what kind of Star Wars story you can make from yourself, like either if you
Yeah,
can be like the rat bastard bounty hunter or whatever, or if you could be the Han Solo-ish type of scoundrel, or even
yeah.
the
And
Billy D.
I don't want it to be too linear.
Yes,
There's no reason for it to be a linear game. Let us get there in different ways. Don't make it 8 hours
right.
one and done. Let's not look at oh shit, what was what was that game? The Star Wars game. God, I can't remember who released it. Was it Konami? There were two of them. There were two Star Wars games, big on set pieces. I can't remember. Hang on.
We
Talk
need to
amongst
look this up.
yourselves.
Yes, this is very important. I'm going to look at that screen again and look at that
Force
companion.
Unleashed.
Oh, yeah.
Force Unleashed 1 and 2, because Force Unleashed was potentially great games, but they were ruined by quick times and they were ruined by just being so linear. And that's one of the reasons I didn't like Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Fallen Survivor or whatever they call. So yeah, I want non-linear. I wanted a universe to explore and do my shit.
Excellent. Well, Star Wars Outlaws, hopefully the force is strong with Ubisoft. And this leads to our number one picks. Marcus, guess where my number one pick was developed?
Pacoima.
No. Where is Pacoima? Is that like...
It's here in California.
Oh, it's one of those crap California cities. Sorry, Pacoima, if any.
I've never been there, but it sounds fun, or funny rather. It's like, where are you from? Pacoima. It's like, that's like 15 points in fucking Scrabble. Well done.
It does sound funny, but no, my game was made in Japan.
Oh, God. Hang on. Let me just go look for my surprise face.
It is Final Fantasy Rebirth coming on February 29th. Super excited for that. So this is the second chapter of a new branch in the world of Final Fantasy. The last game was Final Fantasy Remake. So if you're not familiar with what happened in that game, think of it as J.J. Abrams' Star Trek, where it took a point in the Star Trek universe and split it off into a new story and giving them a fresh slate. So that's kind of what the writers did here. You're dealing with characters that a lot of people are familiar with and a setting a lot of people are familiar with. But what's cool about this is you don't know where the story is going to go. A lot of people have theories and guesses, and I enjoy reading those, the fan fiction and the fan guesses for FF7. But yeah, it's, you get to adventure with Cloud and Tifa and Aerith, but you don't know where the story is going to go. And somehow Zack is back. He is the protagonist in Crisis Core. He was the guy who gave the Buster Sword to Cloud, and he is alive. People are wondering, is Aerith going to die again? One of the neat things is you get to play a chunk of the game apparently as Sephiroth. So I am excited about that, and his ridiculously long katana.
Is that what they're calling it nowadays?
Yeah, I mean, how does he walk around with a 6-foot katana?
And you just do what you have to do. You tuck it in your pants, mate, and that's it. And you hope for the best. No, this is bizarre because you'd be stunned to know that a lot of the words you said, I understood them.
Yes,
because I played Final Fantasy VII. I'm guessing the pre-birth or the afterbirth or whatever I played all those years ago. So it's one of those games that actually fills me with a sadness because I think it was a PS1 game, wasn't it?
Yes.
So I had it on PS1, 4 discs, I think it was, or 3 discs.
I think it was 3. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, 1 disc or 1/3 of 1 disc was gameplay. The rest of it was fucking 96 hours of unskippable movies. But I remember losing so much of my life to Final Fantasy VII. And I kind of miss those days where I would really enjoy that game or those types of games. And it's just bizarre. I don't know what's happened to me as I've gotten older. I know my tastes change. There are a lot of things that change when you get older. But the fact that 30 years ago,
Oh, geez. Yeah.
because I mean, it would have been, actually just under 30 years ago, because we're looking at 95, 94, 95, 96, 96, maybe 7. So 25 years ago, quarter of a century ago, when this game came out, a quarter of a century ago, Raymond.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, I was all about it. But that person, I don't know what happened. That person just, along with the rest of his shriveled soul, just died.
Well, there is a chance this might appeal to you more because it's not a turn-based RPG like Final Fantasy VII, the original was. It's more of an action RPG. The gameplay is based off of what originally appeared in Crisis Core, which is a top 3 game for me all time. So there is a lot of actiony stuff. You can play it as a button masher if you want, or you can be an RPG nerd like me and take your time to think about, oh, what spell am I going to use? What materia am I going to pack into my weapon now? And so there are different ways to enjoy the game. It's not the overhead little icons here. You're playing in a third person perspective, so it's more modern there. But it's still the same characters, part of the same story, but split off in this whole new direction that won't get too weird. And unlike the original, which I didn't like as much as many of my friends because of the translation, I just thought some of the story just made no sense to me. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? But the world of Final Fantasy really developed for me through Advent Children, the anime movie, and Crisis Core, which was a PSP game. And it turned into something that I ended up loving, and I loved Remake, and I'm so excited for Rebirth. I literally could not be more excited for a video game unless it was a modern take on Final Fantasy Tactics. So yeah, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is my most anticipated game of the year.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. Because look, I can list some of the issues I have with the game now. I mean, obviously, yes, turn-based does not fill me with joy anymore. But this was my thing. I would run off screen, and it would do the traditional Japanese game thing of, oh, we're switching to a different perspective. So you're holding to go right, and then they're changing the perspective on you, so you just run back into the same room.
Right.
Or when you're going through all the story, it's like triangle button, just, and there's no decent scroll. There's no skipping. The cutscenes, the interminable cutscenes. I mean, I appreciate the artistry, but I don't need to see the fucking same shit over and over.
Right, but see, this game,
the issues I had.
This game solves those issues for players like you. You can skip cutscenes. You have full control of the camera, so you won't be walking around the map like some jerk. What was the other issue that you mentioned?
I know, it's just, when you're talking with people, and it's literally it's the same thing Nintendo still does to this day, where you have to keep on hitting a button to keep on scrolling through the conversations, and the little box has to come up, and I don't need to see
the cutscenes, because in the original there was obviously a big change in graphics between the gameplay and the cutscenes. Here it's much more seamless because it's running off the same engine. Your character looks, a little bit better in the cutscenes, but it's still the same graphical style. So
I'm hoping there's voices in there as well. I mean, as opposed to, again, back in the PS1 days, there wasn't enough space for a bunch recorded. I understand that, but the fact that we still have the same shit going on on the Switch nowadays, it's one of the reasons I won't play Switch games.
Right.
Because the tech is so out of date.
They have a great voice cast for these games. I love the actor that plays Tifa. She was in the Glow series, if any of you watched that. She was fantastic in that, and she's fantastic in these games. So, yeah.
Let's face it, everything peaked with Ni no Kuni.
That is a great game. I do love those games as well.
And the little sidekick who is Welsh.
Aha.
Uh-huh. All
Now,
right.
Marcus, let us get to your number. I did not flash the screen. Sorry, Final Fantasy. Yes,
Flash.
here you guys.
Oh, look at that.
Look how glorious they look.
Yes, indeed.
Cloud's hair looks even more impossible with modern graphics.
I don't know. There's a huge amount of molding wax in there. I
mean, crazy glue.
Yes, indeed. All right, my game.
Yes.
Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2.
It's a lot of words.
It is a lot of words, and it's from a company that's perhaps not famous for making outstanding games in Paradox.
Right.
Smaller company. But I have hope. Now, obviously, this is the sleek sequel to Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, which came out 2,000 years ago, which was a vampiric RPG. Vampire the Masquerade is a very famous board game universe. And the first Masquerade game was kind of third person, set in Los Angeles, very limited amount of locations, but you got to play as one of a different, you could pick a house that you wanted to belong to, the type of vampire you were. Were you somebody who passes more for humans? Were you like one of the really evil, creepy looking bastards? Now that's obviously not the version from all those years ago, because obviously if you put the two screens, a screenshot next to that of the original, you'd say, oh my God, that looked awful. Back in the day, it was pretty cutting edge on PC CD-ROM. I still have actually my copy sitting around here somewhere. So yeah, the new one coming out this year. It's been in development for a while. It's had some ups and some downs. It's had some delays, but it's set in 21st century Seattle, which would makes a lot of sense if you're a vampire to go to Seattle, because it's very dark, very rainy. The sun doesn't come out much. They don't burn, but it's set in a world where there's werewolves and all these sort of supernatural things. But
it's Twilight.
There's no sparkle monsters, thankfully. Thank fucking fuck for that. But there's a lot of stuff that you're going to get just in the same vein as the first game. You're going to have different clans of vampires. You can tailor, you can pick one that basically augments or supplements or caters to your gameplay style. You have the vampire powers. Do you choose to continue to drain people? Do you kill them? Do you turn them? I mean, there's so many different things in there. I mean, just think, you can again play as almost kind of good. You can just have a little nibble and power yourself up. Obviously, if you get too hungry, you turn into a crazy beast and you start, draining people, and that just brings all kinds of hell down on you, because humans don't like being nibbled on, and so you could possibly be outcast from your clan because they don't want the shit to have to deal with the shit. So again, this one is now being developed by the Chinese room. It's been kicked around for a long time. Now, I'm just hoping, I mean, as with all three of the games, I'm taking a punt on these games because there's no real track record to speak of with any of the developers. There's no real, anything that's sort of like shown us that any of these games are going to be great. But this is the one that I'm holding out the most hope for, because, and I'm fully aware that I think, unfortunately, Paradox, I think they might be part of So I'm hoping the game comes out before they get shut down. But yeah, I've just got hope that this is going to be a good vampire game, because again, as we talked about, Star Wars and pirate games, we need a good pirate game. Why hasn't nobody done anything? I mean, there have been a couple of vampire games, and Vampire Survivor, not so much a vampire game, more of a kill vampire game. But there's been a few, but the idea of this one, just modern day Seattle, looks gorgeous, You get to run around and see all the various sites and stay and interact with humans and avoid police and interact with other vampires, and there's politics and there's powers that you can level up. I mean, it's an action RPG again, and all three of these games I'm hoping are going to be really quality action RPGs. But yeah, I love the original. I've played it more than a few times over the years. I can't play it anymore because I actually don't have a PC with a CD-ROM drive anymore. Actually, I do have one, but it's a 12-year-old Alienware, which could probably still run it. In fact, but yeah, that's just like you have your games, your Japan games, and your Square Enix games, and these are the ones that I want them to take me away. I want them to. I mean, look, people will turn up to take me away at some point, probably to a padded room. But I want these games. I want them to be aspirational. I want to be sucked in. I want to enjoy these games like I've enjoyed Cyberpunk 2077, or the first playthrough of Starfield, or Fallout New Vegas, because none of those games had these particular IPs or these particular angles because they are vastly underserved. I mean, like we said, even Star Wars, we've not really had a good Star Wars game in a long time. And so, yeah, those are my picks. And there are a couple that I could have gone with. Indiana Jones,
right?
Because Machine Games, they do good stuff. Obviously, they did the Wolfenstein trilogy. I'm kind of glad I didn't pick Kill the Justice League.
Yeah.
The issues they've been having. And it sucks for, there are a lot of good people at Rocksteady, but apparently a lot of people left before the end of this game. And there were good people at Warner Brothers as well. And to see this game have the issues it had in the first 2 days of early access, where it's been more offline than on, is kind of sad. But I think that's where we're going now. This is the always on and the games as a service thing that I just fucking hate. Because if you're gonna say it's a game as a service, you've got to provide a good service. Right. And so many of these companies just say, "Oh, it's just a way to sell more loot boxes," or "Look, you can customize your gun so it looks like it was vomited on by Slimer." So yeah, I have hopes for these games, and they'll probably all be dashed because that's the world we live in.
The one that I wanted to pick but just missed was another Konami remake. They're doing Suikoden 1 and 2 remastered, which was actually supposed to be out last year, but delays and budget and all that stuff. But it will be out this year, so I'm excited for more.
I'm just glad Konami's still in business.
Yes, for sure.
I mean, talk about how the mighty have fallen. We went from the Konami press conference at E3 being one of the must-attends, where people were like shoulder to shoulder trying to get in, to them just being mismanaged into a joke. I mean, the Metal Gear Solid stuff, Silent Hill,
Castlevania,
Pro Evo. Pro Evo became that horrible e-soccer game that just, they had the best soccer game for the longest time.
They really did.
They just, gross mismanagement of the games.
So guys, we'd love to hear what games you're looking forward to in 2024. Please drop us a comment. Let's see what we got cooking in the comments section. Martin already mentioned the games that he's looking forward to. So
now, Dragon's Dogma 2. I don't get the fuss over Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah.
I played that. And when it first came out, because I was still doing obviously a lot of stuff with game trailers, and it left me cold. I thought it was a very mediocre action RPG.
But Martin comes back. He says, same issue as I was trying to find games that were long overdue, like Dragon's Dogma 2, or seem to have an interesting vibe to them. On the Pirates games, he mentioned Sid Meier's Pirates was pretty good. We forgot about that one.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, again, that was 30,000 years ago. And you make a very, very good point there.
Yeah.
And, it's like you said, but it's also like Ray said, why don't we have more pirate games?
Yeah. And Matt adds again, been waiting since the first Masquerade, made in the Source engine, no less. Wow.
Yeah.
Carlos adds, this vampire game sounds like a video game sequel of Underworld.
Which is, well, Underworld, I mean, it borrows heavily from so many different things. So interesting tidbit. All right, kids, we have a couple of minutes, but I'm just going to come up close. I'm going to tell you an Uncle Marcus anecdote. So way back in the day, I was working at Novalogic, and we were in between doing Joint Ops and Black Hawk Down and Delta Force EGET type games. We were looking for other stuff. And somebody had the rights to the Underworld franchise. Now, I knew the movie was coming out. I knew it was going to do gangbusters. I knew it was a franchise that was going to go, do very well for at least 2 or 3 films before it climbed up its own arse and died. And so these guys came in with this game, and I'm like, this is going to be cool. Vampires, werewolves. It's probably going to have, great story and a lot of great action.
We have
Who did it up?
Rob K in the house. Good to see you, Rob. Still waiting for the Perfect Dark reboot. Ooh.
Yeah,
I forgot about that
one. Anyway, back to my story. I promise I'll finish it up quick. This game was a twin stick shooter, much like Vampire the Masquerade, but not fun. And it just goes to show that, again, there are a lot of people in this games industry who don't really deserve to have access to facilities to make games, because they took a cool premise, cool vampires, lichens, so much shit you could have done with it, and turned it into a really bad twin stick shooter. And they wanted a shit ton of money for it. Shit. So, any more comments? Are we done?
One more. If Guys had not killed the Justice League so much, I would have gotten that. Well, you saved 60, or is it 70? I don't know how much games cost now.
I'm sure it'll be on Xbox Games Pass by the end of the month. And it sucks. It sucks that the game has not done very well. I mean, and it's only in, it's in pre-release. Maybe it will get better. But yeah, it was always a tough one to dick around with. The Suicide Squad is obviously kind of cool. I just don't know. I haven't seen any full reviews of it yet. Have you?
I have not been reading game reviews in years.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for the comments, guys. And I guess we have a quick announcement to make.
We do?
Yeah.
Let's save the announcement for the moment.
Okay.
So I want to talk to you offline. But don't worry, it's an interesting announcement.
Yes.
Ray and I are getting married.
This is not true. Marcus cannot commit bigamy.
I am. We can move to Utah, and I'm a catch.
Do they really allow bigamy in Utah, or is that just a urban legend?
I don't know.
Someone out there look that up.
Yeah. You want to be my sister wife?
But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and you have an excellent time. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And take care for now. Bye, guys.
Happy Hanukkah.